Good evening. Welcome to the Falls Township Board of Supervisors meeting, September 19th, 2016. We'll begin with the salute to the flag, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Here.
Mr. Bransky?
Here.
Mr. Harvey?
Here.
Mr. Dents?
Here.
Mr. Rocco?
Here.
I apologize for being a little late. We had a busy executive session before the meeting started. Mr. Clark, you want to give us a rundown, please?
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. The board discussed a matter of potential litigation. The board also heard a presentation from individuals involved in a township project. There were no deliberations. The board did not make any decision, and the board did not take any votes during that presentation. The board discussed a collective bargaining agreement, a personnel matter, and another matter of potential litigation.
Okay, thank you. We are the normal viewers of our program and attendees will notice that we have a substitution this evening. Ms. Gallagher, who usually sits to Mr. Clark's right, is on a special assignment this evening. So joining Mr. Clark is another associate from his firm, Mr. Marlier. So welcome.
Thank you.
There will be a point in time when Mr. Clark will leave us. He has another pressing issue in the school district to attend to this evening regarding a potential solution to a contract dispute. And so he'll be with us for a little while, then he'll have to go and to that meeting. So Mr. Merlier will be picking up the slack and helping us out. This evening we have a couple of good presentations or things we're proud of to start off with. And we're going to begin with the special proclamation that I'll ask the board to approve in a minute regarding the Fallsington Quaker meeting. You know, as anyone that knows anything, I guess, about Pennsylvania knows that we were founded as a colony for Quakers who were not welcomed in England and made their way to the United States after being granted this plot of land by the King of England. And William Penn, of course, was the one who led that expedition to the New World, hoping to find a place of refuge and a welcome spot for people of that faith. And now, roughly 333 years later, the Falls Quaker meeting, which is the oldest house of worship in Bucks County, the house of worship that was the congregation where William Penn practiced, is celebrating its anniversary, the 333rd anniversary. It was something that we were made aware of just a little over a month ago, and we were asked if it was something that we would like to recognize. And obviously it's something we're very, very proud of here, that we have, because we always knew we have a rich history, but to have a history this rich and to celebrate that history is really something special. And I know there's some members of the meeting here. I didn't know if any of them were interested in speaking or not. I know there's one who's pretty comfortable at township meetings. I don't know if he's interested in speaking or if he wants to designate somebody else or ask somebody else to speak. But yeah.
I think we're all going to.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Jonathan Snipes, obviously a long-time member of this board, chairman for a long time.
Thank you so much, and thank you to the board for considering doing a proclamation, and to the staff of the township, I'm sure had a hand in making it happen. And true Quaker fashion, we couldn't do this one person, so wait a minute, where's the rest of my group? We need you guys to come up. So for members of our congregation, we want to say thanks so much for being willing to honor us in this way. And I did want to say one thing that residents of the township might not know, which is that, is it the second Monday of each month is Food for Friends?
I think actually it's the third.
It's meeting tonight. And Food for Friends is a free open meal for anyone in the township who needs company or who needs food, maybe a family that's experiencing some financial stress, or just an individual who needs to come out and be with friendly people. So we founded this a number of years ago, Buck's Food for Friends. Come please to the meeting house in Fallsington and have a free meal. And then other congregations have picked that up. So now there are over 20 other congregations in this local area who are also providing these free meals. So it's a kind of thing that we can do as a community, and I think it speaks well of the other houses of worship and us working in cooperation to be good neighbors in the community and provide a service to the community in a place that we love. We've been here, obviously, we haven't moved for 333 years. It's a great place to live, and so thank you very much for letting us be here tonight and for giving us honoring the 333 years.
Well, thank you. And I'm glad you mentioned that about the Food for Friends. It is something indirectly sort of mentioned in the proclamation, is thanking the Quaker meeting, Fallsington Quaker meeting, for its service, not just to its congregation of members, not just the spiritual service it provides, but also economics, assistance and obviously improving the social atmosphere of our community for, longer than Pennsylvania has existed, I guess, even as a colony. The Quaker Meeting House has been there. So, we appreciate everything that you've done and obviously continue to do rather. So I'll ask, I'll just kind of skip all the whereases, but I'll go right to the, now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Supervisors of the Township of Falls, on behalf of the citizens of Falls Township, does hereby issue this proclamation to the members of the Fallsington Quaker Meeting, expressing its sincere congratulations and gratitude for its 333 years of dedication and service to the community, and hopes for many more decades of successful service and dedication. Proclaimed this 19th day of September 2016. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Seconding.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, I also should have introduced my friends, John and Liza Domino, and Amy and Mike and Chip Carroll. So thanks for having us. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I know we have another presentation coming up. I see Mr. Gray running to the back. This is really a presentation coming to the township. So I'll let him and there's a grant the township has been awarded from PICO, and I know that it is something that's going to be applied to our community garden. I see our Director of Park Recreation is here, Mr. Andrews, another member of our Environmental Advisory Council, and is in the back, very active member, and also really one of the founders of our community garden is here as well. So at this time, I don't. Mr. Gray, go right to Mr. Durand, or was you going to have an intro? Okay, all right. So I wasn't sure how we're going to work this. So I know Mr. Ted Durand is here from PICO. He's a presentation to make. He's bringing some people with him, and a big check.
I'll take a second and turn this around a bit.
Sure.
So, Mr. Chairman and other members of the board, ladies and gentlemen that are here this evening, my name is Ted Duran. I'm PICO's External Affairs Manager for communities here in Bucks County, and I'm here this evening to speak to you for a few minutes about the Green Region Grant and the Green Region Program. And with me here this evening also is Holly Harper from the Natural Lands Trust, and she's here as an instrumental person in the review of the projects. And if I could just take a couple of minutes to explain the Green Region Program for those that may not be familiar with it. Back in 2004, PICO undertook an effort to recognize communities across our service territory for the work that they're doing to preserve open space, develop their parks, and conserve land. So we launched what we call the Green Region Program back in 2004. And up through this year, we've successfully awarded the initiatives of those communities throughout our service territory in the amount of $1.75 million since 2004. And we have supported over 230 projects throughout the region. Now, PICO, when we began this program, our expertise is keeping the lights on and the gas flowing. It's not park recreation and open space. So at the time we developed the program, we enlisted the support of the Natural Lands Trust. And for those of you that may or may not be familiar, Natural Lands Trust is one of the preeminent organizations in this region that conserves land and also assists municipalities with their efforts in conservation and park development. And so Holly Harper is the program administrator for the Green Region Program, and I'll give her a chance to say a couple of words. Holly.
Okay.
Thanks, Ted. First of all, Natural Lands Trust is very honored to be PICO's partner in this very successful program. It meshes perfectly with our mission of preserving land, stewarding land, and connecting people to the land. As Ted said, 2014 was the 10th anniversary of the program, and as of then, they've given out $1.75 million. He gave some details, but just it's a total of 230 grants to 152 municipalities and Philadelphia nonprofits. The total population of communities receiving grants is 3 million, which represents roughly 75% of the 5-county region's residents. Grants have helped save over 400 acres of open space, supported more than 100 upgrades to parks, and built or improved more than 14 and a half miles of trails. So we think big kudos go out to PICO for starting this program and really making this region an even more rewarding place to live. So in developing the program, as Ted said, it was to assist municipalities to maximize their dollars for open space projects. And this community garden project, we think, was a perfect example of something like that, that it's going to be upgrading and expanding what you already have, increasing some accessibility, and just providing a great resource for your community. So congratulations on a great project.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And the two things, we have the fake check and we have the real money.
Okay.
So Brian Andrews was the individual on staff that put forth the application, I know, with the support of many members in the community. So Brian, I'll do the honors and give you the real money, at least for the moment anyway. And congratulations very much.
Thank you.
And if we could take a couple of minutes and we'll grab a quick photo
Sure.
of the board, and obviously we're part of the project.
Sure.
So
Okay.
we can get you from behind the podium and we have the doctor ready to go. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. All you folks want to, it'll be tight, but we'll get us all in there.
Check this way a little bit. That's good, right? Yeah, perfect. Okay.
Perfect. All right, thank you. Take care. Good to see you. Good to see you. Take care. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you all. Have a great rest of the evening. Yours. Won't fit my part.
I saw him. Can't you see Pete tomorrow down at the bank with the big check?
Okay.
He's happy Gilmore.
Thank you again to PICO. Also, again, thanks to Brian Andrews, Park and Rec Director. I know Phil McAloon from the EAC and working with Community Garden also. I had a hand to play in that, so we appreciate all the work they put into it. All right, so we're going to move to item number 1, which is our public comment. First name I see on the list is Lisa Farrell.
Okay, I hope I don't fight with this microphone again. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, how is everyone? I haven't seen you for a while, but I'm back. And I just wanted to reiterate that we have not gone away, that we are against the Elcon hazardous waste facility being built in Falls Township at the Keystone Industrial Port. We have some updates for you, and at the end of my little comment period, I'd like to know if you have any updates for us as to what the progress is and where they stand in their application process. Updates for you would be that we have resolutions that have been signed by several different municipalities and townships circling this area. We have resolutions from Middletown, we have resolutions from Newtown, Yardley Borough, Morrisville Borough, Upper Makefield, Wrightstown, of course across the river, Bordentown, I believe Florence. There's quite a few different townships and municipalities that have come up to state that they do not want the Elcon facility built here. We do not have Lower Make, and obviously you guys can't comment because you're sitting and waiting for the Phase 2 application to come into play. What still concerns me is that our air quality here in this area, in lower area of Bucks County, is considered the 3rd worst in the state of Pennsylvania. Outside of Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, we don't rate so well. I don't understand how something that could possibly increase emissions in this area can cross a desk at this point, because I don't know if a non-attainment zone, which is what we are supposed to be classified as, is allowed to accept any more emissions. That's a question for you. I'm not positive, but from my understanding is when you're considered a non-attainment zone, you shouldn't be having any more emissions being allowed to be produced in your area, period. Until your air quality comes down, the air quality improves, then perhaps you can have another company come in and emit. But until that level has reached, I'm not sure if it's allowed. So that's my big concern. This area of Falls, which I've lived in for over 30 years, seems to be becoming a sacrifice zone for industries that or other companies that want to dump their stuff here to take care of it. From Massachusetts to North Carolina, all these trucks are going to be converging in our area and have their hazardous waste reclaimed or sent away. Supposedly the project will create sludge, toxic sludge, and then they're going to ship that away. I'm not so sure where it's going to go anymore, but all these hazardous waste trucks are going to be converging in our area, and we have a lot of trucks here. We have a lot of trucks, and I just don't understand how we can increase that. Trucks alone around here might have caused the air quality emission problem. I don't know, but these are concerns, and it's not an us against them kind of situation, which a lot of people feel when environmental groups or activists get out there and say something. It's not us against them. It's about all of us. It's we. We need to have a quality of life and a quality of health in the area that we live and that we love. And that's our concern. We're not, no one's against industry. We all work for industry. We all work for companies. It's well known that a lot of companies are doing good things, and that's fine. Problem is, we have reached our limit here, and it needs to be placed somewhere else. So that's what I wanted to say about Elcon. I also have questions for you about There's been permits in the paper for Clean Earth Incorporated to increase their production from 2,400 tons of soil to 600 tons of soil. They're a reclamation company that reclaims soil and improves it. I'm sure you know about it. And these are questions for you because I'm not sure what their plans are and how they want to proceed with this expansion. But that's 600 tons, 1.2 million pounds a day that they're going to be increasing their processing. And I'm not sure if that's going to increase emissions either. So my question is, where do we stand on the Elcon Phase 2 application? And what information can you give me about Clean Earth's permit proposal?
The short answer with Elcon is we have received nothing. As far as we know, they have not even started their Phase 2 application process. And there is a member, interesting, talk about the Environmental Advisory Council, there's a member of the EAC who is an engineer himself and who monitors and has access to all the databases and basically knows where to look to find that kind of thing. And he's, pretty regularly checking on it, and they haven't even started the process. We have had no contact with them, so we don't know what their plan is, and so there's no answer to give you other than that one. The Clean Earth, to be honest, we had to, someone had asked about it last week, and Mr. Gray and I had to do a little bit of digging, because it is a company that has been in the township for 20 years or more.
Approximately 20 years.
And we have had no issues with of any kind. Our fire marshal, who's been here for a very long time, even before he was a fire marshal, really doesn't recall anything of any kind of note. Our code enforcement officer, zoning officer, who's been working here, who's worked here for 9 years, we have absolutely no record of any violations, any problems, any issues at all with Clean Earth. They have, been a company that has been completely under our radar in terms of any kinds of issues of any type that we would deal with as a township. If they have any DEP issues, I think we probably would have known about that. We have no knowledge of any of that either. And so, quite frankly, they're a company that has been doing what they're doing, and they apparently are doing it well. They're regulated by DEP. Their permit to expand their operations is in front of DEP. The expansion, just from taking a little bit of a look into it, which I did last week, would not require them to come before us because they are not expanding their building. They're not constructing anything new. They're simply taking in more volume, basically. Presumably, there's some newer technologies they're updating, so they're able to take a larger amount than they previously were. I'm just guessing. One thing I do want to, the increase from 2,400 to up 600 above that is not, from our understanding, is not per day. Because that would be an enormous amount of, per day. I'm not quite sure it was per day.
Pretty sure that's what the permit said.
All right. So, okay.
But I have to look at it again.
Okay.
But that's pretty much what
it might be. It might be, but it's.
That's what concerned me because I thought that's a lot of stuff. That's 25% of what they're doing. So, it's a concern, and
Sure.
and as people living here, we need to be concerned about whether or not it's going to affect our the quality of our health.
And issues of air quality, issues of particulates and pollutants and those kinds of things are obviously, that's the DEP's purview.
Yeah.
It's not something we have the ability to monitor here. Our staff isn't equipped to do that. They're not trained to do that. It's really not the task of the people here. So it does fall under DEP. So if they've been as good with DEP as they have been here in terms of everything with us, fire code, building code, zoning codes, traffic issues, they were literally a company where we had to kind of look at each other and say, we'd have nothing of this. It's one of these situations, and Mr. Galloway being a former principal, and I kind of identify this as, the principal oftentimes, assistant principals often say, well, I don't know that kid, they must be a good kid because they're never in my room.
Yeah. From
and
what
that's
I
kind
have
of the
read,
thing.
they don't seem to be violating a whole lot of things,
Yeah.
but there is a concern about more truck traffic coming in here. If it's 600 tons more coming in, that's a lot. So there are things to be thinking about, and there's not really any comprehensive plans anywhere, not even in the DEP, that puts together truck emissions and air emissions and all that kind of stuff together in one big ball for everybody to look at and see how much the total
Right.
emissions is, there's nothing like that happens. It should be from cradle to grave kind of stuff, but that's not what happens, so.
Okay?
Okay,
All right.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Sure. So taking a look at residents, there was, Mrs. Farrell was the only resident on her sign-in sheet. So before I go to non-residents, are there any of the residents who wish to speak? Okay. So Betty Tatum? Tatum, sorry. Tatum, sorry. Looked like I know.
Thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening. I'm also here because of concerns about, well, I am concerned about children. And as background, I directed the YWCA of Bucks County for 11 years. We had camps and after-school tutoring and all kinds of programs for children in Morrisville for many of the years that I was the director. And children are my bottom line or my main concern. Not only my own grandchildren, but everybody's children and grandchildren, and even those that aren't born yet. And I did learn that you had not gotten anything from Clean Earth of Southeast Pennsylvania, and I do want to address that particular major permit modification application to expand the capacity of contaminated waste they want to accept and process in their incinerator at 7 East Steel Road in Morrisville Township. I'm happy to hear that they have not had violation problems in what they have been doing. It does sound, though, that they want to add the 6,000 tons to the 2,400 tons, so that's
600 tons, ma'am.
yeah, 600 tons, and that is 93,000 tons per year. Elcon wants to process, or has in their application, their site application, that they want to be permitted to process 210,000 tons. And how much hazardous waste can we put into the air? And all of these processes have some air contamination. They all want to eradicate, eliminate air pollution, but it can't be helped that some of it does go up in the air, and some of that falls down into the water. And from what I have been seeing on the site of Clean Earth of Southeast Pennsylvania, they are a major company. They have 16 fixed locations in the United States, and they process all kinds of very hazardous waste. And they have different permits. And permit B, something or other with it, accepts much more toxic waste than what they have right now. And the fact that they are asking for new processes to be considered, including this microbial treatment, etc., I would just urge you to please look into this with great care. We're now talking about two major increases in toxic air. And I want to point out that it's the unborn babies, the little children, and children of all ages, but children under 15, we're the only county in 2014, Bucks County was the only county in Pennsylvania with a rising cancer rate for children under 15. They are the most vulnerable. They're the most likely to be on a football field when it's an orange ozone day. And they don't even know what they're breathing. And we're in an industrial society. We live in a corridor. We will already have a great deal of pollution. We have to look at how much more we can expose our children to. And so I am extremely worried about some of the things. I got this from CESP's website. They process flammable and or combustible liquids. In fact, they call it they have companies that process the waste streams that Their operations generate, including flammable or combustible liquids and flammable liquid water mixtures, flammable solids, hazardous aerosols, bulk and non-bulk hazardous liquid and wastewater, water oil mixtures, manufacturing waste, industrial sludge and drum waste, lab pack and pharmaceutical waste, sandblast grit, foundry sand and grinding waste, asbestos, universal and electronic waste, off-spec, defective and damaged consumer commodities. It is very, I know it's almost up. I just want to, and I'm going to leave this with you. The Endocrine Society put together a synthesis of 130 studies on how these endocrine disruptors, which cause our immune systems to malfunction, and they cause all kinds of problems, especially in children, but also in older people. And this is just very, very quick, and it's an executive summary of the new statement, which synthesizes 1,300 studies on endocrine disruptors. Points out that scientists are more confident than ever before in linking these substances to a host of known health issues, including reproductive and developmental problems, thyroid impairment, certain productive cancers, and neurodevelopmental problems such as decreased IQ. But studies suggest those links can now be extended to heart and weight problems and diabetes. So please, consider reading some of these studies and considering all of that when you actually hear the application that is the major one, not the renewal of what they are doing. We haven't heard anything bad about what they are doing, but we don't want them to bring soil from the bases, the 3 military bases. We don't want them to bring other even more hazardous things here than are already here. We are inundated, as Lisa Farrell pointed out. We are overloaded with air toxics, and how much more can we take? So I hope I can leave these studies with you.
Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move to item number 2 on our agenda, certificate of appropriateness. This is for 41 Old Locust. This is a replacement of windows and hardy plank siding on the house. Board has information on the property. It was approved by the Historic Architecture Review Board. There's photos of the home as well, and also information and photos of what the new siding and windows will look like. I'm not sure if the owners of 41 Old Locust are here. They are? Okay. So I don't know if there's any, it's a pretty straightforward application, so there's no need to really, I don't think, explain anything. Are there any questions?
No.
No, very straightforward.
Okay. All right, is there a motion then to approve the certificate of appropriateness for 41 Old Locust?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Congratulations. That's it. All right, item number 3 is Peruzzi Mazda preliminary and final land development, 140 Lincoln Highway. Mr. Gray.
Yes, the applicant's proposed project consists of the construction of a 7,400 square foot building expansion with associated parking and stormwater management. Tonight, representing the applicant is Mr. Ed Murphy.
Good evening. I'm here tonight with Fred, to my left now, to discuss with the board the proposed expansion, as Mr. Gray indicated, of the Peruzzi Mazda dealership on Lincoln Highway. It is an issue that is important to Mazda and to Fred as part of the what seems to be the continuous rebranding of this brand and others. Fred's been asked to significantly upgrade and expand the existing facilities. So what is proposed is what is essentially a U-shaped expansion that encircles the existing dealership, that provides more showroom space, more service space, principally service. The plan was submitted as a preliminary and final land development plan. It's gone through the normal course of reviews by your staff, consultants, and most recently, late last month in August, with your Planning Commission, who did favorably recommend approval subject to certain conditions. Those conditions are outlined and included in the draft approval resolution that I was provided an advance copy of, given an opportunity to review it. The Planning Commission also reviewed a series of waivers that had been considered and had supported all but one. And that is, we had requested to not install sidewalk along the property frontage. I know in talking with staff and well as the Planning Commission that both are not in favor of granting that waiver, and if it's the board's position that we install it, we certainly will. So to that extent, the waivers that are listed in the approval resolution, and if you did not support the waiver of sidewalk, there are two paragraphs, paragraph 3 and 7 on page 2, that would be deleted. But otherwise, I think we're in accord with the draft approval resolution as it has been prepared and presented to us by your staff and consultants. And obviously, Fred is here to answer any questions that any board members may have about the proposal.
Okay, thank you. Comments or questions from board members? Mr. Galloway?
No questions.
Okay. Mr. Boraski?
None at this time, thanks.
Mr. Dents?
No, I'm sure it'll be a nice addition once it's done. Regarding sidewalks, it's an odd spot for sidewalks. I mean, putting sidewalks on a spot where there's nothing around it on either side of the road has sidewalks. I don't know what the rest of the board, we didn't discuss it, feels, but I don't see a need for sidewalks on Lincoln Highway. We didn't make the townhouses put sidewalks in? Did they?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they are
And
too?
we're putting them in as well, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
That's my opinion, but it looks like a good project.
Mr. Rocco?
No, I don't have anything.
I had a couple questions. I know one of the issues that came up, I think it was in a traffic engineer's review, is losing a lot of parking spaces around the original building and then also off to the, where's the compass? Eastern or western side of the plot. You're losing about, I guess, 26, 27 parking spaces. So I'm assuming the easiest thing to do is obviously not have as many cars from your inventory there to leave space for employees and cars being worked on and customers, et cetera. So what are you going to be doing? I know you have some vehicles up at Strict Trail or whatever you want to call it. Is that the plan?
Yes, Bob, exactly. We're going to be storing, obviously, more vehicles between Strict Trailer and our sales and body shop area, which we have quite a bit of property there.
Okay.
Are you going to service the Mazdas here now?
Yes.
You will?
We'll be adding 7 service bays.
Nice.
I think previously, maybe Jeff knows others don't, but Mazda service was previously across the street.
Right. Yes.
But one of the issues that Mazda had was the on-site servicing of their vehicles. So
Okay.
they're insisting that Mazda service be provided at the dealership.
In terms of customer satisfaction,
Sure.
they really require the service facility to be attached to the sales facility. They want that commingling of the customers.
Sure, that makes sense. Makes sense. The other issue I had was just thinking back, and actually Mr. Gray reminded me of this earlier today. We did have in the past, and I think it was with this site, was it a different Prusi site? Was this site? An issue with a resident in the back complaining about the lights from whether it was lights in the parking lot or lights on the building, security lights that were kind of shining into their home. And I think you guys addressed that satisfactorily.
Mr. Harvey, I don't believe it was this site. It was our GM site.
Oh, okay, it was a GM
In
site,
the
okay.
back, you had like lights on the buildings
Yes.
for security.
Okay.
And they were an issue, and I think that's the only one that I'm aware of, that we corrected.
Yeah, probably. I couldn't remember if it was this. I knew it was one of the sites along that backed up to those residents there.
Right.
Is that something that's going to be, because the building's obviously getting closer?
Well, and you're right, Bob, and I talked to Jim about that today. There are a couple of existing or pre-existing light standards along that rear property line that Jim's asked us to remove. So we will install wall packs as opposed to other freestanding lights. So we're going to make the effort to try to minimize any other new spill of light onto the adjacent property. So I think we've had that conversation. I think we understand what we need to do there.
I appreciate
And
that.
if there ever is an issue, we will correct it.
Right, and I know that worked very well with the GMC when the problem was taken, so I appreciate that as well. In terms of sidewalks, I know I got an email over the summer, July or August, I forget now, from a resident who was, kind of taking us to task for, why are there not enough sidewalks in Falls Township? And I pointed out the fact that for the most part, of course, you can tell from some of the photographs around the room, when this township got built out, fully as it is now, with all the houses that were built in the 50s and 60s, it really was not as much a walking, community in terms of between, sections and the highways that went in. There were no sidewalks on, and sort of in retrospect, that was not a good idea. But we've been making an effort over the past several years of asking people to put sidewalks in. We're doing it ourselves, as you're going to find out in another agenda another next agenda item, that we're putting sidewalks in front of our own new building, and with Mercer Court, and we've done this with others. So I agree with the not granting those waivers, 3 and 7 that you highlighted, Mr. Murphy. That's my feeling.
And those were the feelings expressed by your planning commission and staff as well.
Okay.
So I understand.
And obviously, it's not a big foot traffic area, but maybe it's not a big foot traffic area because there are no sidewalks. And I think all of us have seen people, riding bikes, walking, on that highway, on the side of the road or something. That sidewalks would make it safer. So those are my feelings. And then I think it was all I had. Is this going to involve sort of like, I know with the sort of rebranding in the building too, and sort of
It'll be completely different than what you see now.
Okay.
These manufacturers, every so many years, they come out with a new image, and you
Right.
have to, correspond to what they want.
Sure.
And it's going to be completely, but it will be nice.
Sure. Oh, I'm sure it will.
All black. It'll be really sharp.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it will be. So this would be a nice addition to a nice change, and hopefully between our building and Mercer Court and the things we've done here, this this end of Route 1 is was sort of neglected for a while. Now we're starting to sort of kind of pick it up. So
The parts that Fred doesn't own.
that's right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Really. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
What's left? You did Nissan, you did GMC, now Mazda.
Mazda, and really that's it, unless we find another franchise.
Until they start changing them again.
Change it again, we'll
yeah.
start all over again. So,
Okay.
it's ongoing.
Okay. Those are all the questions I had. Any other?
No, I just, Chairman Harvey, remember the work the Community Economic Development Commission did with the Route 1 corridor revitalization project, and you don't know how you're going to get to where you're going, but you want to know what the picture of Route 1 looks like. It might be 10 years from now, and that's where the sidewalks come in. And I'm pleased that we're doing it ourselves. And it does seem sidewalks in the middle of nowhere. But eventually, with baby steps, we're going to get to where we want to be. And good luck with your project.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Any other issues?
No, I've done.
Mr. Sullivan, anything from you?
Not at this time.
Okay. All right, so this is Resolution
29.
29. Okay, and I'm assuming, just based on listening to board members, myself and I think a couple others, that we're removing on page 2, paragraphs 3 and 7, taking or not granting those waivers, I should say. So it would be B and F on page 5 would not be granted. Okay. So with that change made, is there a motion to approve Resolution 1629, granting preliminary and final land development to Peruzzi Mazda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. I really
Good luck.
appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank
good
you.
luck. Good luck.
Oh, by the way, I found out this evening why my electric bill was $10,000 higher last month.
Why?
Why?
And checking, I just.
We appreciate the contribution. Thank you.
Take care.
I'll send you a revised copy. Take care of it.
Okay, next item on the agenda, number 4, is Falls Township Municipal Building, preliminary and final land development. Mr. Gray?
The applicant's proposed project consists of the demolition of the existing municipal building and construction of a 55,174 square foot municipal building with related accessory buildings, infrastructure, and stormwater management facilities. Tonight, representatives from Remington, Vernick, and Beach and from Kimmel Beaugret are here to discuss this project.
Thank you, Board. My name is Chris Fazio. I'm the principal on the project. With me is Doug Hopper from my office and also Sarah Miller. They're here to answer any technical questions you may have. I know this is a familiar project. You've seen this very many times. Give you a little bit of history. We've been before your Planning Commission. We received their approval. Went before your Zoning Hearing Board. We needed about 7 variances, which we were successful in getting last week. They were existing nonconformities. The site is a municipal site today. It's going to be one once construction is completed. So they were existing nonconformities, but just to be true to your process, we went and got that relief, and we have that in hand. We also have representatives from Kimmel Beaugret, Martin Kimmel, who's a principal, and also John Trump, who's the project architect. So our group is here. They're happy to answer any questions you may have. We know you're familiar with it already, and you have a robust agenda tonight. So we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
We don't have, most of the audience has left. Really, I think there's one person here who's not a township employee or currently contracted with the township. But obviously, we conscious of the fact that we do our, videotaping these meetings and they are televised. And so I think for just people at home who don't know, obviously looking at this illustration, giving them maybe starting out with an idea of where the current building is, and then just kind of going through what's going to be happening. And make sure you take the microphone as you go. Yeah, sorry. Thank you, guys, for reminding me of that. And just giving just a basic overview of what's going to be built, what's already here that's staying, and then at some point maybe just a timetable for when this is going to start happening.
Okay.
Thank you.
Once again, thanks for having us here. Doug Hopper. I'm the project manager from Remington, Vernick, and Beach. So what you see here is the full build-out. This will actually be built in several phases. The existing building is in the center of the site, which is here. So phase 1 will be to construct the administration police building and the public works building. The existing building in the center of the site will remain online until those buildings are complete. Once those are brought online, the next phase will be to demo the existing building, and then the next phase, of course, is to construct the infrastructure where the existing building was. The parking lot stormwater management system will be out here on the north end, adjacent to Lincoln Highway, and also the existing basin in the back will be utilized as well.
I know there were some issues at the zoning meeting. Some people had raised issues about stormwater, especially the residents who live behind. Can you give us any idea about how what our current stormwater situation is, and then how this is going to improve it?
Okay. The existing site actually has almost a ½ acre more of impervious surface than the proposed condition. The site is located in the Delaware River South Watershed Stormwater Management Plan, District B, which means that we have to meet certain requirements being in this district. Basically, we have to limit the post-development peak flow rates for the 2, 5, 10, 25, 100, or 50 and 100-year storms to, well, for instance, a 2-year storm post-development must be limited to the peak for the 1-year pre-development peak. So the 5-year storm must be limited to the 2-year pre, the 10-year storm must be reduced to the 5-year pre, 25 to the 10, 50 to the 50, and the 100-year must be reduced to 50% of the pre-development 100-year storm. So we've met all those conditions. Basically what it means in a nutshell is there'll be less stormwater coming off the site than there is now. And everything discharges to the southeast corner, which is back here.
And I guess how about a timetable? How long is this process expected to take?
Total construction 18 to 20 months. And we look to be out to bid hopefully by the first of the year.
Okay. Other comments or questions or anything that we...
Well, it's 12 months to construct the new building, we said, and then about 6 months to tear this building down and do the site work to...
That's correct. Right.
Add parking and stuff.
Right.
And this is basically a 2-story police station and a 3rd floor, so to speak, of some offices on top of the township building. The majority of this is a police station, really.
Yeah, which is.
And we keep calling it a township building, but it's so much more. It's a state-of-the-art police station, really. And Lieutenant Aries here, he basically designed the thing. So it should have his name on it, probably.
Right.
We'll put a statue of him out front.
You guys listening?
This has been a long time in the works.
Yeah, Mr. Dents, Mr. Rocco served as sort of a committee of board members, the two board members who had the most to do with the engineers and the architects over the past couple of years, really. And I thought just to, so people get an idea, I don't, obviously this is the only township I've ever really done any kind of work with, but, for us to, I think we were very, very aggressive in being transparent with this. We've held a couple open meetings for people to come and take a look and have input. We had tours of this building to show them the deficiencies and the problems over the past several years, and even taking our own plan to our own planning commission and allowing them to sort of critique it publicly, taking our own plan to the zoning board, our own zoning board, and having them critique it and allowing them, So we really have I think, done probably, I would assume, more than a lot of other townships do in terms of this kind of thing. I don't know. Again, I haven't worked with other townships, so I don't really know what else we could have done. I think we've even had stuff on our newsletter, then the newspapers run things. I think we've had stuff online. So the fact, I guess, that there's no one here at the meeting to have any questions about this, I guess, is, I suppose, is a good thing. It could be, well, the Eagles haven't kicked off yet, so I don't know if that's part of it or not. This was not intentional. To do it on this night. But, so, is there any other questions or any other thoughts about?
No, I think it's worth mentioning that logistically, the challenge we had was to continue operation, especially the police station. So that's why when you look at this, the building's sideways out this door, actually, so we can continue to, run our day-to-day. Maybe not ideal if we had, if I shouldn't speak for you guys, but we had to continue our business as usual. So
yeah, and that was, I think, the first thing we asked the architects to do was really take a look at what our options were. Could we? And I think they gave us 4 plans, and 3 of them involved some variation of keeping this building open and renovating it, and not building something new.
That was the original idea.
Yeah, and then the last part of it was just build something new. Keep this building open. And that was, as Mr. Rocco said, that really was critical for us, not just the police services, but for anybody that comes here to do any kind of business, whether they're getting permits or paying their taxes or coming to a meeting or, bringing their kids to get, different things to the Park and Rec Board or something. We wanted to be able to keep operations open and make it as easy as possible for people to access this building and the services we can provide them, and also build a new building. And it would have been difficult for us to do that. Not impossible, but certainly would have been more challenging for us to do that by renovating this building. And I think renovating a building, working with people that have done a fair amount of construction, there's a whole, sometimes it's way more expensive to renovate a building than it is to just build a new one. I know, see Mr. Kimmel coming up here, you can add some things to the discussion, I'm sure.
Yeah, a little flavor to that issue. And you might recall the analogy I made. So part of what our responsibility was to dig into this building and see if it was feasible to renovate it and if it made sense financially to renovate it. And I know the analogy I made up here one night was that, when you peel back the cloth in your aunt's garage that you just inherited and you find an old Corvette and it's, if you put some money into it, it's going to be a great car. And when we peeled back the cover of the building here, we found a rusted Corvair. And so it was
Actually,
really,
Wilcox likes that.
It was really quite literally way more expensive to renovate here, not to mention the logistical issues that you just mentioned. And at the end of the day, you would still have the underpinning is a really, poorly built building that you've gotten a lot of use out of. So that was our thinking back then, and I think you made the right decision for sure.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate that. Okay. All right, so it's sort of an odd situation to be
Granting ourselves
preliminary and final. There are some waivers that we have requested of ourselves. Mr. Sullivan, have any problems with these waivers that are being requested?
Not at this time.
These waivers are actually pretty standard. In fact, we just gave a lot of them to Peruzzi, parking within 15 feet of an uncovered area. The two-way drive aisles, I think they're 24 feet instead of 25. Is that correct? I'm seeing a couple nodded heads, so it's okay. Turning radius in the curb, planting beds in the parking lot, shade trees, things that we've kind of, done pretty exempted pretty regularly with other people. And we are, as Mr. Hopper said, we're increasing by half an acre the amount of green space you're going to see on this property compared to what's here now, which is almost none. So really, we're doing our part, I think, in terms of trying to green up the area a little bit. And we are looking at a lot of environmental features, environmentally sensitive and forward-thinking features with this building, which we're excited about. And I think the architects are as well, and the engineers as well. So I think we're doing a very good job of living up maybe to that grant we got just about an hour ago or so about being energy conscious through PICO. So we're doing our best, I think, to build a building that this township can be proud of. I was talking to some people that have been involved in township government politics for a very, very long time. They don't remember the township actually having its own township building. The township offices always seem to be housed in some building that used to be something else. It was never really their own building. They just sort of took over a building like this one that had had a lot of previous lives, none of which really set it up to be a township building. And I think Mr. Kimball said we've gotten a lot of good use out of this. I think we've stretched it pretty far. But I think this township is, he said we're classed as a second-class township because of our population, really. But I like to say, and I know some people have heard me say this more than once, just because we're classified as a second-class township doesn't mean we have to look like one. And so this is a first-class township building that I think this township deserves. And I think the people that work here deserve it, and I think it'll be something that we can be make this township even more proud of itself. So obviously I appreciate all the effort that's gone into this from Mr. Dents, Mr. Rocco, and all the staff here that have had a lot of input, police and finance and Park and Rec and everybody else. We've tried to include everybody. We even had the township secretary helping Mr. Gray pick out, and myself pick out floor tiles and colors for the walls and things like that. So, it's been a team effort. So I'm looking forward to moving forward.
I should add that there's going to be a very large part of the building, not a large part, but a great Parks and Rec department,
yes,
which we've been lacking for a long time.
Yeah.
We don't really have a rec center here in Falls Township. It's not necessarily going to be a rec center, but it's going to be pretty close with a lot of space for programs and such. It's going to be a great addition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
I remember when we first started this project, when we first met Martin Kimmel, and we didn't really have a plan that we didn't know we wanted. We talked about renovating this building, and then when he asked us, do we have an idea? We said, no, it's basically a blank canvas. Just go do your thing. And his face lit up. He was so excited that, he's just used to brick and stone, plain buildings, and I think what we're going to have is going to be absolutely beautiful.
All right. So I'm assuming there's no public comment needed. This will be Resolution 1630.
Yes.
Okay, granting preliminary and final land development to the Falls Township Municipal Building, 188 Lincoln Highway. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Our next item is number 5, consider resolution for Green Light Go project for the traffic signal approval, Mill Creek Parkway and Levittown Parkway intersection. Mr. Gray?
Yes, for the Green Light Go project, which is scheduled for Mill Creek and Levittown Parkway, there's an application for a traffic signal approval. Part of this application involves a resolution for board consideration. The board is asked to consider this resolution. In addition, Mr. Chris Fazio is here from RVB for any questions you may have.
Okay. So, Mr. Fazio, we've already approved kind of the work on this. As you said, you told us a little bit ago, I guess before the meeting started, I'd ask this question. This is just really a maintenance agreement?
It is. Every signal in the Commonwealth is required to have a maintenance agreement with the township that it lies in, so that maintenance is covered for the duration of the life of the signal. You didn't have one for this one, strangely enough, so We're going to cross our Ts and dot our Is and do this the right way.
Okay. All right. Comments or questions?
No.
No.
Okay, is there a motion to approve 1631?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, this is where Mr. Gray gets a chance to sort of run things for a while. All right. Items 6, 7, and 8 are all adopting resolutions establishing a minimum municipal obligation for different pension plans. So I'll let Mr. Gray kind of go through and, well, I guess we explain sort of all these at once. We'll take 3 separate votes.
Sure. There are 3 minimum municipal obligations, or MMOs, for the board's consideration tonight. The first is the police pension plan. The second is the non-uniform, and the third is the public works. The MMO is basically a budgeting tool. It's a requirement that has to be done by the end of business day in September of each year. It'll be incorporated into the 2017 budget. For the police pension plan, the total amount that will be included in the budget is $2,589,914. For the non-uniform, which is the administrative workers in the township, this one would be for $123,549. And the third one is strictly for the Public Works Department. This is through the PMRS pension plan. This is $59,297. Each MMO requires a resolution, and at this time, the board's asked to consider each resolution at this time.
Questions for Mr. Gray?
None.
None.
Okay. All right, so we'll take these one at a time. Resolution 1632 is for the police pension plan. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 1633 is for the non-uniform police pension plan. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Resolution 1634 is for the PMRS Public Works Pension Plan. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, sticking in Mr. Gray's wheelhouse here. Consider authorization for advertisement for the audit for the 2016 financial records.
As I mentioned, this is for authorization for advertisement. This is for the appointment of a CPA firm for the annual audit. This will be to publish a legal notice to be included in the Bucks County Courier-Times, notifying the public of the township's intent to appoint a firm of certified public accountants to audit the township's 2016 financial records. The board is asked to consider authorizing advertisement at this time.
Okay. Comments or questions?
None.
No? Okay. Is there a motion to authorize advertisement for the 2016 audit of the financial records?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item 10, consider notice of intent to award bid for the 2016 Falls Township Road Improvement Landscape Restoration Project for Howley Drive. Now this is something different. Typically, when we do landscaping, we do it through whatever contractor's doing the road work. Because we've had some issues with road contractors handling landscaping, we decided to break this bid out and do it separately so that we'd have more control over the landscapers themselves. They'd answer directly to us instead of answering to a road contractor that we then had to go through to get things done. This is a more direct system, so we're hoping this works better.
It can only be better.
Yeah. So, Mr. Gray.
Yes, in a letter from Mr. Sullivan at T&M dated September 2nd, he provided information on the 2016 Road Improvement Program landscaping contract for Howley Drive. Bids were submitted and publicly opened on August 31st for this project. 2 bids were received. There were 2 quotes that came in for each, the base bid and the alternate number 1. Base bid was for landscape restoration for seeded. The second one, or the alternate number 1, was for sodding. The first bid was from Bustleton Services, base bid $18,990. Alternate number 1 was $30,460. The second bid was from Greenscape Landscape Contractors, base bid $61,890. Alternate number 1, $71,060. Based on the bid evaluation, Bustleton Services is the lowest responsible bidder for both the base bid and alternate number 1 of the landscape portion of the road improvement project. It is recommended that the Board of Supervisors authorize the Township Engineer's Office to issue a notice of intent to award to Bustleton Services for the total bid cost of $18,990 for the base bid.
Okay, comments or questions?
None.
Mr. Gray or Mr. Sullivan?
No.
I do. So last road program, or 2 road programs ago, the one that we're still having problems with, Bustleton Services is the company that worked for James D. Marcy, correct?
That is correct.
Now, what's going to be different this time? They're working for us, so we'll have
We're
a lot
working
more
for the
control.
township. Yes, exactly right.
Okay. So it should go a lot smoother.
Certainly hope so.
And they're not going to be working with James D. Marcy, they're going to be working with General Asphalt.
That's correct.
Okay. That's all I had.
Yeah, I have a question. What's our thought process for the alternate bid, which is basically the sod?
The alternate bid was sod. I'm kind of surprised they were that far apart, but that's the way the numbers came out.
I thought I remembered talking about if, giving the homeowner the option of upgrading, basically. Did we discuss that, or did I imagine it?
We did discuss that.
Okay.
This bid doesn't, anticipate that, but that is something we could actually offer the residents if you so desire.
The problem with sod is the maintenance required.
Exactly. The maintenance is somewhat the same, but not quite. So you're supposed to water sod a little bit more than the seed. The seed requires 1 inch of water every 3 days unless there's rain. Sod is basically water every other day unless there's rain.
Right. So
Plus, if the sod goes bad, you're tearing up sod and replacing it, which is more expensive. The sod going back in is still more expensive. So any kind of, tear out. If the seed doesn't take, you put more seed down.
Right,
If the
I'm
sod
not-
doesn't take, you have to take it out and put in new sod.
Right. I'm not pro sod. I was just curious.
I'm just
Yeah. So we're not going to take advantage of the alternate.
No, not at this time.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
He decided for us.
It's a recommendation at this time.
Thank you.
That's all I had. Thanks.
Okay.
Well, what would be required of Bustleton Services, the landscape contractor, for responsible contractor?
Any craft employees that they might have would have to be, the contractor would have to enroll them in a Class A apprenticeship program. Landscapers have those kind of programs, so.
It would be, well.
So they're not going to meet our RCO then?
Well, I'm going to say they will, because they had to do that with James D. Morrissey as well.
Or not.
If they had craft workers,
If they have craft employees.
which they probably don't.
It all depends on your point of view. The non-union associations have landscaper apprenticeship programs.
Never heard of that.
And
Never.
I would defer to your judgment, sir.
I don't know. I just saw it in there. It caught my eye as they're landscapers, but okay.
There will be some kind of a 30-day review period for this contract.
Yeah.
Whether or not it turns out to be a responsible contractor in that definition, it doesn't seem that way.
That's all I have.
Okay. All right, so we're looking at issuing notice of intent to award the Howley Drive landscaping to Bustleton Services in the amount, presumably base bid $18,990. If that's acceptable to the board, is there a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, item number 11 is, and 12 actually are tied in sort of together as well. Recently, the township was approved finally by the Bucks County Commissioners to use open space money to improve 2 areas, 2 park areas here in the township. And the 11 and 12 is authorizing advertisement for those 2 improvements. Number 11, consider authorization for advertisement for the Falls Township Community Park Fishing Pier. Mr. Gray.
Yes, the board is asked to consider authorizing advertisement for the Community Park Fishing Pier. T&M Associates will complete the advertising requirements and provide the bid specifications to potential bidders. The board is asked to consider this at this time.
Mr. Sullivan, want to give us any kind of rundown? I know we've looked at this issue, this project in the past, and we decided to go try and get some open space money for it, and we were fortunate enough to get that. So what kind of a pier are we looking at? How's it going to be set up?
It's the same T-shaped pier we've seen. It'll be handicap accessible. We're pretty sure it's going to be stick-built and not prefabricated off-site and dropped in place. We're looking at a construction, start date in the spring. We'll have all the documents ready sometime early next year and go out to bid then and be ready to start as early in spring as we can.
Okay. Comments or questions from Mr. Sullivan? And Mr. Andrews is here as well, if anybody wants to direct any questions.
Yeah, is it wood or composite, vinyl, the decking itself?
I think the decking itself will be wood and the top will be composite like Trex.
Right.
That's what
the decking will
yeah.
be.
Yeah.
So it'll be hopefully not a whole lot of maintenance.
There shouldn't be much maintenance at all. I mean, anything that's out in the weather is obviously, there'll be a board here or two every few years we got to replace, but nothing more than that.
Okay.
I just want to freeze and then collapse like the boat ramp piers.
Well, it probably won't be any large boats going by that had huge waves.
Any slight, I guess, I do have some people who've had Trex and are concerned about the fact that if it's out in the sun all day, it does get pretty hot.
It gets hot.
So hotter than wood would get.
Yes.
And so that's a concern, I guess, if we're going to have, this is obviously not a shaded pier, and we're not planning on shading it. So people that are out there all day, they go out there and, kids running around barefoot, helping dad fish or something. That's a little bit of a concern for me.
Well, barefoot is a problem with Trex or with pressure treated wood. It's not as big a deal with cedar. We can look at that as an option. If that's what you'd be wanting to do.
It is sort of a concern. This is something that's going to be out in the sun all day long.
Yeah.
There is no shade for it at all, and so, and it does get pretty hot. So I don't know if, it's just something I wanted to raise as an issue. I don't know what the rest of the board feels.
It's a good idea to wear shoes when you're fishing, though.
Yeah.
That's
what it is. We just put a sign up there, caution hot deck.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to,
Yeah.
Cedar would be a lot more money.
I don't think it would be that much more money, no.
That'd be interesting.
No. But I mean, it's, we can make that an alternate bid and see if it works out.
Yeah.
There's probably more maintenance with cedar over time than
Cedar's
it would be
soft,
with the
yeah.
Trex, but it is a soft wood. You can scratch it a lot easier. But you don't have the splinter problem as people in bare feet, and you don't have, the heat problem.
Interesting.
yeah. I'd like to see that, but
Yeah, so would I.
just to see an
Are
alternate.
you
see what happens.
specifying the decking, the brand of decking as well in the bid?
Yes.
Do you already specify it, or?
No.
Okay.
No, nothing's been specified yet.
All right. I may help you there.
Welcome to your input, Mr. Rocco.
Thank you.
All right, so any other questions?
None.
No? Okay, is there a motion then to authorize advertisement for the Falls Township Community Park Fishing Pier?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next we have similar, the footbridge of Vermilion Hills, which has been out of commission now for a little while. The one that was there just basically had outlived its life. And so now we're looking to install a new one, and we had the idea of looking for some money from the county to help us pay for it. We got it, which is good. Mr. Gray?
Yes. Again, the board is asked to consider authorizing advertisement for the Vermilion Hills footbridge. Again, T&M Associates will complete the advertising requirements and provide bid specs to potential bidders. Board is asked to consider this at this time.
Comments or questions for Mr. Sullivan?
No, it's just about time. It's good.
Okay. All right, is there a motion then to authorize advertisement for the Vermilion Hills footbridge?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, items 13, 14, 15 are also tied together. Stipulations to settle an appeal of Bilal Patel versus Bucks County Board of Assessments. This is essentially 3 properties that have been reappraised, and because they're reappraised, the amount of taxes is changing through the Board of Assessments. And I'm assuming we do all 3 of these separately. Not sure, but Mr. Gray, I don't know if you want to introduce anything or talk more about it, or.
We did get a letter from Mr. Cliff Bidlingmeyer about the tax appeals. He is recommending to resolve these 3 matters. Pennsbury School District, I spoke to a representative from there earlier tonight, and they are prepared to approve this as well. The addresses are 11 Ellerdale Road, 951 Lincoln Highway, and 971 Lincoln Highway.
Okay. All right, so let's, I guess we'll take them one at a time. And I'm assuming they're listed here as they are on our, yeah, okay, on our agenda. All right, so the first stipulation, is there a motion to approve the stipulation? Is that the right terminology? Accept the stipulation?
So moved.
Accept the stipulation? Okay. For the property at 11 Ellerdale.
11 Elder. So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, is there a motion to accept the stipulation in the case of property at 951 Lincoln Highway?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to accept the stipulation in the matter of 971 Lincoln Highway?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, minutes for August 15th, 2016. Any comments, corrections? I don't think I had any.
Excellent minutes as always, Mrs. Pullen.
All right, hearing none, is there a motion to accept the minutes as presented for August 15th, 2016?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, engineers report. Mr. Sullivan?
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Just a few updates this evening. The Three Arches project is 100% complete. The painters are done. The construction is done. I believe it's all been cleaned up as well. And we're going to release the money. Is that tonight? We already did that. We're going to give him his final release sometime in the very near future. 2016 road program. We had a pre-construction meeting with General Asphalt. They're going to start Mill Creek Parkway either late this week, but more likely early next week. They expect that project to run about 5 days, and they'll have the mill and overlay all done. Howley Drive will start probably a couple weeks more toward the beginning of October, and they think they'll be done in about 4 weeks. Sounds a little optimistic to me, but hopefully that's the case. And then we can do our seeding right after they're done, right after their sidewalk, and all the seeding can be done by Bustleton, and that should work out pretty well. For the 2013 road program, finally finished my negotiations or struggle with JDM. We have an agreement in place. They will be notifying neighbors very soon and getting all that stuff started. They're going to start with the driveways first, and then move on to removing the puddles in the paving, and then do the concrete work. All that work is required to be done within 30 days from the time they start.
Or what?
We find them in default. That still hangs over the head until
The
they finish
residents
the
been
work.
notified about the driveways?
Residents are, as soon as they're scheduled, they intend to notify the residents, and we'll make sure that happens. The schedule has not come out yet. I'm assuming it will be in the next week or so that they get started.
We did notify the residents that we were in sort of discussion to
Yes,
try.
Mr. Gray sent out a letter to all the residents.
Right. They've been very patient.
Yes, they
And
have.
very patient. And that's, those are all the updates I have. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Comments or questions? Mr. Sullivan?
No.
The same thing with Halley Drive. Do those residents get notified about what the process is going to be like for the road? It's
Yes.
going to be like pretty
Yes, they
bad for
do.
a while.
Yeah,
They do get notified?
they get notified. We've already talked to a few of them, and they understand tree removal and things like that.
How many trees are going to be removed? That was my next question.
Not a lot. I don't know the exact number, but I think 15 would be high, if I said that.
That'd be real high.
Yeah, I don't think it's that many. It's a short stretch, 985 feet of road, which is a short stretch for a roadway. Not that many trees involved.
Okay.
And we have one resident who wants us to try to save the one that's on the other side of the sidewalk. We're going to do our best to do that.
I have none. Thank you.
Anything else? No? Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Sullivan, for the Three Arches project, that payment is scheduled to be paid tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan.
All right, is there a motion then to accept the August 2016 engineering report?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, bill list for September 19th, 2016 is in the amount of $1,887,827.38. Of that, roughly 1.9 million, 1.1 million is payroll and insurance. There's also the health insurance, I should say, plus another 124,000 for insurance, vehicle insurance in the township, and cyber insurance. The New Falls Road sidewalk project that finished up, mill and overlay work that the township was doing is $19,000. About $113,000 for the sidewalk that was finishing. Street lights, $18,000. I was trying to see, I have to look back again to see what, Mr. Gray, as we're starting to get into this, now that we have the LED lights, maybe at some point we can get like a month-by-month comparison from last year to this year just for the street lights. Sometimes on some bills, it's actually more difficult to see when we're paying bills to PECO. It's, is it street lights? Is it lights at sports fields? Is it something else? So it's a little bit tough to break down sometimes. I'm kind of curious to see where we're saving money. And also with the 1.9 million, there's approximately 120,000, maybe a little bit more than $120,000 that are actually state funds or escrow, which is put up by developers. It is not township money. So you're getting sort of an idea of where most of the money is going here in the township. Comments or questions regarding the bill list? Okay, is there a motion to pay the bills $1,887,827.38?
Yes, I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Second.
Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Brasky?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
Okay, we had our executive session earlier, so we don't need to have one now. I see Chief Wilcox in the back, and let's allow him to make his report, his police chief's report.
Hey, Chief. Thank you.
All right, Chief.
Members of the board, Mr. Harvey, members of the board, honored staff, I feel your pain. It is now past 8:30. I'm a 44-year season ticket holder, and I feel your pain. And I will do is go through this as fast as I can. The paper that I just gave you, gentlemen, up there is to show you that today Mr. Golden and Mr. Simpson from the Stadium Restaurant stopped in today. The thing from Samsy's there is they got a gift certificate for $2,100. That's to help offset the cost of our vest. And the top part of there is from the Delaware Valley Vietnam Veterans Association. They donated $200, so it's a total of $2,300. It went towards that. Also, Rob's Towing kicked in $750 into that total. Just so it's clear to the entire public, to the board, to everybody else, this was the idea of Mr. Simpson, the general manager of the restaurant. It was his idea to honor the local PDs, to do what he could to show that there is appreciation for the police officers out there. As Mr. Harvey and I can attest, it was a great function, was well attended. There was a strong, strong support of your local PD there, and I thought they did a great job. But I thought it was necessary today to reach out and thank them publicly. With that being said, I just wanted to let the board know we're having Coffee with a Cop on Wednesday at the El Hap restaurant. That'll be from 9 to 10:30 in the morning. We've published that in a newspaper, Levittown Now, our websites, and hopefully it'll be well attended. We'll have our supervisors, our administrators, some detectives there. So any questions, and we invite the entire public to come out. If you have any concerns, please come out to this. Also, we have the Great Shredder event is scheduled for 10/22 in October. There's a gentleman by the name of Bob Mullaney. I hope I'm saying his name right. He spoke with my assistant, and Bob is running a cruise night on October the 2nd. It's a Sunday evening from 3 o'clock till dusk. And what Bob wants to do is he wants to show support for the police department. And he wants to show that there's a strong showing out there. So all the car enthusiasts, he hoped that they come out, and he's going to ask for a donation. He wants to buy a piece of equipment for the police department. Once again, completely unsolicited. He reached out to my assistant, and he wanted to do something. With
Chief, I'm sorry, Chief, where is that going to be?
Oh, I'm sorry, at the Falls Township Park.
Okay.
It'll be 3 o'clock on Sunday, and I'm sure he has a rain date.
October 2nd,
You
you
can
said?
go to his website, and he has a website. Let me see here. His website is Bob Mullaney Old School Hot Rods. Very nice man. With that, I would like to speak about the epidemic of heroin overdoses that are not occurring, that are just occurring in our area. So I can only imagine what is going on. 3 weeks ago, we lost another resident, a 50-year-old gentleman. With that being said, today starts Heroin and Opiate Addiction Awareness Week. So if anybody would like to reach out, go into your computer and bring that up, it'll be a good source of information for families, for friends, for anybody that may be suffering from addiction or want to speak to their kids about it. That starts this week. Our enforcement with our drug investigation is continued. It's going on at a pace that's just unbelievable. Unfortunately, we had our 4th homicide this year, just occurred the other day. Now, the good side of that, all these homicides have been cleared up, but it's a very, very sad ordeal. In all my years here, I've never seen 4 homicides in 1 year. Bicycle patrols continue. The last one we just had 2 weeks ago, Mr. Boraski, unfortunately, you were on vacation at the time, but we will contact you for the October one. Just bear with me a second here, gentlemen. The Citizen Police Academy is on right now. We're in the 2nd week. I'm appealing to anybody who's watching this or will watch this on TV. You can still come out. We only have 12 residents this time. Don't ask me why. It's so sparsely attended, but we're inviting. I just spoke to the people that are running it tonight, and they are asking anybody who still wants to come out, you can come out. It runs for 12 weeks. If you gentlemen saw the Courier Times today, you saw one of our best employees on that. John does a terrific job. Once again, I can't say enough good things about John Yeager and what he does and how he represents our police department in this community. I know we're all dying here. Just bear with me another minute here. I'll be short.
Mr. Rocco's team and my team played yesterday, so it's okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're
Take
all
your
right.
time.
Take your time. It's fine.
I know Mr. Sullivan doesn't care about the Eagles.
Mr. Sullivan doesn't care either. No, he's. Yeah.
Gentlemen, that should be it for this week. Thank you very much.
Hey, Chief, I do have one thing. I think it's great that the community is helping out with the police, but I do want you to know that some of that came back on to me. Again, I won't speak for these guys. You know, how dare you not buy vests for these guys? You know, things like that. So I just want you to be aware of that it came off to some of the public that we weren't willing to buy vests for the new police. So,
Mr. Rocco, I heard the same thing.
Okay.
But what I heard was that I was out there soliciting this.
Okay.
And I took the heat.
Right.
To tell you the truth, because it's okay for our residents to show their appreciation. I'm all for that. And people can think what they want, but all I have to do is pick up the telephone and call me. It's okay for our residents to like us. We're cops for God's sakes. And
Absolutely.
we're in the community working for you here. And if you just look, 2 nights ago, what happened in Philadelphia? Another attack on a police officer. This shouldn't be. I'm very impassioned about this, and I don't like this. And by the way, you just made me think of something. Thank you. Anybody who's watching this on TV and they see anything suspicious in their neighborhood, no matter how minute, no matter how little they think it is, please call, because it is bad out here, and it's getting worse. Thank you, Mr. Rocco. I
Yeah,
appreciate
but
this.
maybe I wasn't clear. You've never come to us and said, "Well, you buy 3 vests for."
Absolutely not.
So-
No.
Yeah.
No.
And we would. I don't think we've ever said.
Mr. Rocco, this board has been nothing short of spectacular.
Thank you.
And taking care of our needs. But I'm okay with the community reaching out and trying to support their police department. And if, unfortunately, some of you gentlemen couldn't be there, but if you were there with Mr. Harvey and I, the outgoing was just, it was really good.
That's awesome.
It was an awesome thing going on. So I'm sorry you took some heat from that, but I took some heat too.
No, that's okay.
So,
I want to make sure it is clear that we would buy the vests.
No, absolutely. You would buy the vest.
Right.
There's nothing that you guys wouldn't do for us, and I appreciate that. And I want the public to know that. This board supports us 100%. Thank you.
Did they meet their goal to get the vests? Was the goal met?
Yes, a vest itself is runs between $650 and $700. Now, the carrier is another $200. But the officers, this will supply our 2 new officers and the officer that we're right in the process of hiring right now. By the way, that's one more thing. Thank you for reminding me. that
Over here, Chief.
The hiring process is ongoing as we speak, and we should be interviewing within the next week. Once we get into the second step, I'll notify the board to see if anybody wants to sit on the board for the second step once again. Anybody is welcome to sit on the board if you want to. I won't remember anything else. We're already 10 minutes into the game. Thank you.
I just wanted to, one more thing I wanted to touch
Sure.
on the heroin overdoses, but I'm no expert. The little bit that I learned from Lieutenant Ward and talking to him is, unfortunately, some of these people that are overdosing, we've also saved multiple times Narcan in our township.
We've saved numerous people. We've saved more lives than we've lost. Unfortunately, I don't know what the thinking pattern is between
It's
us.
sad that
But it's an
recurring
epidemic.
people. It's a shame.
Yes. And the gentleman we just lost was 50 years old.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what the thinking is. It's sad. It really is sad. But we'll just keep trying and through education and hoping that, you know what, it'll have a good end somewhere along the line. Thank you, man. Thank you for your continued support.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Appreciate it. All right, Mr. Gray?
Recently, the township received the application for the annual bare root tree offer. The bare root trees would be available in October for planting shortly thereafter. Township has done similar bare root tree programs in prior years, planting them throughout the township. Over 460 trees have been purchased through the Tree Vitalize program by Falls Township. Of the 20 trees that we are considering purchasing, 10 will be planted on township property. The other 10 will be available to the residents through the residential bare root tree program. This program offers residents the opportunity to purchase trees for planting on their property. The application for this program was due prior to this board meeting. My office submitted the application for the program and the request to purchase 20 trees for $500. The board is asked to consider ratifying the purchase of 20 trees as part of the Tree Vitalize program for $500.
Any comments or questions, Mr. Gray?
No questions.
Is there a motion to approve the expenditure of $50 for the bare root tree?
So moved?
Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Boraski?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
The following businesses were approved to open operations in Falls Township during the month of August. Drop Ship Parts, 225 Lincoln Highway in Fairless Hills. Lawless Jerky, 81 Big Oak Road in Morrisville. And JC Tax Services, 81 Big Oak Road, also in Morrisville. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. All right, board comments. Mr. Rocco?
Just one. I'm excited that we are moving forward with the new building. It's been 3 years, probably 4, maybe for you guys even longer. But
For me.
Yeah, it's been going on for a while, so I think it'll be a good thing. It's needed, well needed in this township, so that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dents?
Nothing.
Mr. Boraski?
No, thanks.
Mr. Sullivan?
Mr.
Mr.
Sullivan.
Sorry. Mr. Galloway?
No.
No. Mr. Sullivan, anything from you, Mr. Sullivan?
No comment at this time.
Okay, there we go. All right. Just a couple things. We do have a couple of people who have put in for board membership on or positions on some of our boards. I did get a chance to talk earlier today with one of the people interested in the EAC. I think we have one seat open and 2 people have put in for it. So I'll let other people, the board members, have some time to maybe reach out to contact the people and see if they're, see what their interests are. We do meet one more time before the next meeting of the EAC, so we'll have time to appoint somebody new. And I know there was an article today about medical marijuana and the fact that the state has made some changes in terms of the legality of medical marijuana, and they have not really released any kind of details for townships to deal with where medical marijuana growers or dispensaries can be zoned. It is something that we are looking at. We do actually have, we just handed today kind of a draft ordinance of something that we can advertise that will start putting some concrete definitions about where these kinds of places can be. I don't know if this was something the board wanted to. We've had a chance to look over and talk to our solicitor about it leading up to the meeting tonight. Is there thought on just advertising this beginning this evening?
I'm in favor.
I think it's a good idea. I imagine people are going to be jumping all over this business.
I think it's a great idea. I think we need to move now and
Okay.
get it in place.
All right, so is there a motion then to advertise the ordinance regarding, amending the zoning on Chapter 209 for create sections related to the Medical Marijuana Act?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And I want to thank board members for a very good meeting. I echo the comments of my fellow board members about moving forward on the township building, and thank all the staff and all the professionals for all their work. And we're back to 2 meetings, I guess, a month now in October. So we'll be looking forward to seeing you guys more often. Okay.
The 5th week, it's been how long since we've been here?
Yeah, it's been a while. October.
The 5th week in August.
Right. So. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.